So now that you said, starting off with like a small number, because to me it brings up, like, I had heard of Vipassana for a number of years, but it wasn't until I was 6 years into meditation I did my first Vipassana course, and it upped my meditation game hardcore. I mean, it really, like, I had a foundation, but it gave me like a much more solid foundation for meditation, where, especially immediately after, I remember the week after, like immediately after the Vipassana, I would meditate, and within 2 minutes I was in a deep state. Like, I was in like a state that would normally take me an hour to get into. It was like instantly like into that state. Mm-hmm. But the lasting benefits, because I think some people are wondering, like, what's the lasting benefits of Vipassana? I think it really, I think, plowed down the importance of meditation for me. The unimportance of most of society's traps, and especially technology, and especially like overstimulation, and it gave me like a really good foundation just to sit down and just meditate, and just be like, no matter what's going on, or make the time, like wake up earlier. And because that's what I do, is I wake up earlier. Like, I always meditate in the morning. He always meditates in the morning. If you have to work early, you wake up early. Early as, and that's what I do as well. And it's like, I think it just gives a really good foundation. So like, someone's maybe thinking about doing Vipassana, like doing a Vipassana course, like, why should they do that, or should they do that, or what would they gain from that?
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think Vipassana might not be for everyone. It's a very intensive course, and you really have to want to learn how to meditate and be open to the idea of sitting and doing nothing for 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
No reading, no writing, no phone use.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you are open to that, then you will see a lot of benefits. Like, and maybe it's worth to take a step backward and just ask, like, what is meditation? And for me, I think meditation is the cultivation of different qualities of mind. So some examples for different qualities of mind are like attentiveness, compassion, awareness, wisdom, and each of these qualities of mind has a different exercise that you can perform to strengthen those qualities. So just as you'd walk into a gym and you see like all different exercise equipment sitting around, so too when you walk into like a meditation hall, you could perform many different types of meditation. And so for Vipassana, I know, like, my experience with it, they're very focused on increasing awareness and increasing equanimity. So being aware of sensations in the body and how sensations drive your behavior, and not only that, but also the mind, how the mind's reacting to the sensations. And the second thing is being aware, after being aware is the reactivity piece of it. So how are we reacting to those sensations? Are we reacting negatively, or are we attaching to good sensations, or are we equanimous, whatever is coming our way? And so back to your question, like, why should people do Vipassana? Again, maybe it's not for everyone, but for me, it did give me a lot of answers in life as well, not only in meditation practice, but Vipassana is the Pali word for, what is it, seeing within or insight?
I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. I'll have to look it up. But seeing clearly, I believe, is what it means. And so it's this idea of looking at reality without artifice, without belief, and just seeing like what is actually happening to us, what is actually happening within the body from the subjective experience of the human being. And so I had no insight into that prior to meditation. And so that's where I really found Vipassana to have some benefits in my life.
Yeah, I think that maybe couldn't have been said better. I mean, I think that really everything comes down in life to your reaction to it. I think it's all like our interpretation and our perception of events. Really, like, phenomena is just occurring in the physical universe, and it's just phenomena. And I think that we have this like amazing godlike quality of awareness, and I think that we have so many different clouds in front of us, so we see it with like, we're seeing it through so many different layers of glass that it gets skewed, and sometimes an event happens and we just take it in some way, but that's you have a choice to change that. And I do think that like Vipassana is like seeing things clearly, like what like seeing the events arise, but then noticing like, wait, my ego immediately when something happens assigns like this like quality of if it's good or bad, or if it's right or wrong, or if I like it or not, if I'm attracted to it or averse to it, if it's painful.
Yes.
Like we have sensations, and like in my last video I said I was having heartbreak sensations, like pain in my chest, and like it's like I'm like, that's bad, you know, and then it influences my thoughts and everything, but it's like, no, that's just a sensation, and it's just a sensation.
Yeah, man. It's like, it's really cool to be able to have someone else that has been to a Vipassana center and is really into meditation, and have them like fairly close to me in my life, because, you know, I think not a lot of people do this. Like, actually meditation is still, especially in the Western world, it's still like a very subculture thing to do, even though like science is beginning to just develop so much literature around the benefits of it. It's still in its early stages, and I think it can only grow because, you know, people like you are just seeing so much benefit and wanting to spread that word to other people, bring on other people just to interview and share that word. And so I think that's really cool, man. And yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, because I think it's getting more popular. I think everyone knows about meditation, but yeah, you're right. Like even people that know about it maybe don't even practice it as much. And so I think it's such a beautiful thing to practice. And so another thing about David that I kind of want to bring up, because I think it's applicable to this channel and what I usually talk about and to everyone's lives, is his story is just cool. Like and this, I'm gonna paraphrase it and probably get it wrong, but basically like he was working a 9-to-5 job and wasn't feeling satisfied with that. And we were actually talking about this yesterday in the sauna, and I remember what was cool is like you said that you didn't know who you are or who you were or what you wanted, that you were like basically living like you were at the mercy of your peer group or your family, or like your where you grew up. And I think that is so many people. That was me. That's like so many people where we didn't know who we were. And when faced with that realization that your life wasn't headed in the direction that you wanted it to, and you weren't sure which direction you wanted to head in, you did something that is really cool and really rare, which is that you took the leap of faith. So he went and hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, which is a trail from Mexico to Canada, for 6 months, and that like kind of sputtered him on this journey of meditation and following his passion. He's a writer and all this stuff. So maybe just talk about that, because I think maybe a lot of people watching this are maybe want to live a fearless life, want to pursue what they really love and are passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one, because I really don't feel like I know who I am yet. And I think it's just a constant journey of trying to figure out, you know, who is our truest self. And for me, because one thing meditation taught me, right, is everything's constantly changing. And so every day I wake up, it's like a new person that I'm meeting. And so I have no idea what my wants are, what my needs are, what my urges are going to be, what are my desires. And sometimes I'm taken by the whim of these things. But, you know, I have come up with some order amongst the chaos, and it's completely internal, like it's completely subjective, what I've come up with. And I think that's everyone's goal in a way, is to find like what is my order, what is my path, and in a way break the expectations that have been laid out before us. I mean, I guess that depends too, right? Because some people are very happy just going about life. Maybe that's the way they're programmed, and just going with what was given to them, and that's great. Like there's nothing to be ashamed of. Like I'm kind of jealous of that if that's the case of some people. But, you know, I do think for most people we're handed some sort of path of expectation, whether that's from society, mostly probably from parents, from peers, from friends. And, you know, it can be a struggle, you know, making that initial leap. And sometimes that's the path of the hero, is either making that leap or being forced into it. Because those are the two different narratives that are often told in stories, basically, in fiction stories, is the path of the hero either being forced into whatever, journey, whatever quest he's embarking on, and, at first being very against it, saying no to everything, and then as he goes along, opening up and, finding, what is my quest? What is my goal? Or the other side of it is, making that leap of faith and going and following your dream. But I think a lot of people don't know what that is. And still to this day, I really don't. I think I really don't know what my dreams are because they're constantly changing, right? I think it started out just my dream was wanting to leave my job and look for something different. And then my dream was wanting to finish the Pacific Crest Trail. And now my dream is wanting to write a book. And so these are all just small projects, small lives that I'm living within this greater life. And, maybe I'll want to continue to write, but I definitely by no means have anything figured out. I just want to make that clear. But I do feel like, life is beginning to make more sense for me because I have embarked on that path that wasn't laid out for me, that path of expectation. And so maybe that can help some people.
For sure.